everyone, welcome back to my garage. I'm giving myself until the end of the year to restore, race, and road trip my Corvette. As of today, I have 364 days left to finish the restoration, to go on 3 different races, and road trip 2,000 miles across the West. Hit that subscribe button to see if I actually make it. I don't know if I'm actually going to or not, but please hit the subscribe button. So what I'm going to do today is tell you all the stuff that's wrong with the car and all the stuff that I've done so far. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about why you might actually want to own an old car and fix it up rather than own something new. So let's get on that. We'll start by taking a look at the car. So here it is. This is my 1988 C4 Corvette. It's a 35th anniversary model with a Doug Nash 4+3 manual transmission. There are only about 200 of these made, so it's a relatively rare car as Corvettes go. I bought it with about 100,000 miles on it, and I think I'm like the 9th careful owner. I joke a little bit. This thing has actually been through a lot. I would say that over its life, it has not received the best maintenance. But that's okay. We are here to take care of it. So what I'm going to do is go sort of section by section and tell you the things that are wrong with the car, and then the things that are that I've done so far. So let's start with the bodywork. Well, on the whole, the bodywork is in pretty good shape. The paint is not great. It looks all of its 37 years, I think. But, and it needs some touch up. But I think with some paint correction, it'll actually clean up pretty well. What does need to happen though is the rear bumper does need to be repainted. It's slightly discolored and paint right at the back is starting to crack. But that's not too hard to do. I can remove it and take it to a paint shop and have that done. It probably needs a new windshield. This doesn't look too bad until you get really close and you see that the bottom edge of it is starting to crack a little bit and it's shedding its rubber gasket and stuff. I mean, it's not terrible, but new windshields for these cars are very affordable, so I may just do it. It also needs realigned window glass. It's a little hard to see, but if you were to take a good look, especially on the passenger window, there's a very large gap between the glass and the gasket. And that's because this window is not aligned very well. Essentially what I need to do is take the door apart and realign the glass. But that's okay, because the door has to come apart for other reasons too, and I'll get to that. So, bodywork. What have I done so far? Well, first off, the previous owners installed a lot of really terrible accessories. They installed this weird flap cover on the fuel door in the back. That got removed. They installed some wind deflectors on the side mirrors. Those got removed. They installed sill protectors. Those got removed. And I also had new window rubber installed, and I got a new targa top. Not technically new, these things are all rebuilt, but this is a transparent panel here on the top. It's tinted blue, and the old one, which was probably original, was all glazed and starting to crack and in really nasty shape. And so this whole thing got replaced. But yeah, bodywork, not too bad. So what about the chassis? What have I done so far? Well, it has new tires. It has new brake rotors, pads, and stainless steel brake lines. It has these nice yellow new dampers. Those are the original specification Bilstein dampers that during COVID took a year and a half to get delivered from Germany. It also has new front suspension bushings. It has Super Pro bushings, if you're familiar with those. What does the chassis need? Well, the rear suspension bushings need to be replaced. Again, I have those Super Pro bushings, I just haven't done it yet. It needs a new alignment. When you drive it straight down the road, the steering wheel is at some weird angle. It also needs a new spare tire. Oh, I forgot, I did buy new tires for the car. All right, so yeah, so that's the chassis. On the whole, it's in pretty good shape. Engine. What about this engine? This is an early Corvette, an early C4, I should say. It has the L98 engine. It makes about 250 horsepower or so when it was new, and about 370 pound-feet of torque or so. It's pretty good. It's not a horsepower monster, but it has a lot of torque, so it's quick off the line and quick to move whenever you hit the gas. So that's nice. What have I done? New belts, new ignition components, distributor and wires and spark plugs and stuff. The car has a new exhaust. It came with an incredibly loud sports exhaust that was just intolerable. So I replaced it with the OEM exhaust. Of course, it has a new air filter. I did the oil and filter change, radiator flush. The engine was starting to exhibit some weird symptoms, so I replaced the engine computer. It has a new clutch switch. The previous one was broken and bypassed, and there's a story there because it relates to the cruise control. And I've replaced the throttle position sensor. What does it need? Well, it probably needs new fuel injectors. It probably needs a new, or at least cleaned, mass airflow sensor. It needs new fuel filters. There's actually two of them. There's one in the fuel tank, and there's one sort of underneath the car. The car's been sitting for long enough that both of those are probably kind of gummed up, so those need to be replaced. And I need to fix the cruise control. The cruise control on these things are a little weird. It's pneumatic, which is to say it uses vacuum from the engine to power the mechanical throttle cable. And the logic for it is in the dashboard. And part of the logic says I won't engage unless the throttle is, unless your foot is off the throttle. So that means you need to have a functional throttle switch to use the cruise control. Of course, the cruise control does not work still. So there's probably a vacuum leak somewhere, or maybe the servo is not functional, something like that. It is a project to get it working. I just haven't done it all yet. All right, that's the engine. What about the transmission? All right, so remember, this is a manual transmission. So when I say transmission, there's actually multiple parts. The transmission itself is good. I've changed the transmission fluid, and the overdrive is also good. I've changed the overdrive fluid and filter and stuff. What I have not done is the differential. The differential fluid is not easy to drain, and Chevrolet says the fluid in it is good for the life of the car. But at this point, the life of the car is over 35 years, so it probably should get replaced. It's just a matter of doing it. What also needs to happen with the transmission is that the shifter, which is to say the shifter in the car, is misaligned in some way. It's very difficult to put it in first or second. So that needs to get sorted out. And while I'm here, how about that interior? This is, as I said, this is a 35th anniversary edition, and that means you get white seats, white center armrest, white steering wheel, special floor mats, various other trim bits. What have I done? I have replaced the stereo, which I wasn't expecting to do, but it turned out to be the source of power draw. that would kill the battery after a day or two. That cured most of the power draw. At that point, the car could sit for a week before draining the battery. And with some effort, that was traced to the digital dash. So the digital dash got replaced, and that appears to have fixed the problem. I've also replaced the power seat tracks. Those have plastic gears in them and stuff, and they tend to wear out over the decades. So it has 2 new power seat tracks. But they only partially work, and that is because the switches for the power seat track, which are in the center console here, those are messed up somehow, so I need to fix those. I've put in new window struts for the rear glass, and the car has new carpet. What still needs to happen, though, I need to rebuild the seats. The seats are not in great shape. Cosmetically or mechanically. There's sort of 3 or 4 components to the seats, depending on how you want to count. These are sport seats, and they have power recline and power side bolsters. That works in both seats. But they also have a lumbar support system that is pneumatic and runs off a little air compressor. That whole system is dead on both seats and needs to get rebuilt. But I have the parts to do it and know how to do it. It's just a matter of doing it. So the plan is to remove the seats from the car, take them apart, fix the lumbar system, install new foam, which I have, new seat covers, which I have. I just need to learn how to do automotive upholstery, so that'll be fun. The center armrest lid cover, it is warped and in very bad shape. Unfortunately, this is a 35th anniversary unique piece. No other Corvette has this white armrest lid, and so they are totally unavailable. So you can theoretically paint a different color one, and I tried it and didn't work very well. So I'm just going to replace it with a black one and put a white cushion on it. And I think that'll look fine and function really well. There's lots of bits of trim are cracked and broken, and so all that needs to be replaced. The seat belts need to be replaced. They're badly stained. The sun visors, at some point, the sun visors on this car fell apart. They tend to do because they're just cheap cardboard. And they were replaced with the wrong ones. So those need to get replaced. There's a light in the rearview mirror. That's where the interior light is. It does not work. So I need to fix that. The dashboard, the top of the dash, up here. The dash itself is fine, but there are speaker covers on the dash that you can probably see are kind of discolored. They turn blue, weirdly enough. Those need to be replaced, and I have those. What else? Both door panels need to be replaced. They're in pretty bad shape, but those are available. The gear shift boot is in bad shape. It needs to be replaced. The parking brake cover is just totally missing, so that needs to be replaced. The seats, the seat backs are plastic, and they are discolored because the seat covers that are in the car now have been repainted, redyed, something, and there is overspray on the seat backs. So that needs to get cleaned up. But other than that, it's great. Everything else seems to work. Now that is a pretty long list though, so we'll have to see how I do. I am not a professional mechanic. I have a degree in engineering, and professionally I'm an engineer, but I'm the sort of engineer that does paperwork mostly. I don't do a lot of hands-on stuff. But as I mentioned in my first video, I have my late brother's tools, and I'm hoping to get inspired by him to be able to get through all this. So that's the car. Now, I'd like to talk just a minute or two about why you might actually want to do something as silly as this. Why not just buy a new car? Why restore an old car? Well, a few reasons. First off, maintaining something, being hands-on with it, connects you with the people that designed and built the thing in the first place, right? When you work on a car, when you get to know it intimately, when you spend a lot of time with it, you get to see the thought processes of the people that designed and built it. And by maintaining it, you're respecting that work, right? You are making a connection with people that worked hard. And when you use the thing as intended, you're honoring their memory and their work, I think. The second reason is it's just better, I think, to be a caretaker rather than just an owner. In our society, we have so many things that are just disposable. And sometimes there's good reason for that. But a lot of times it's just because we like novelty, right? But being a caretaker, right? Recognizing that people designed this car and then built this car, and then there are owners before me, and assuming I don't wreck it, there will be owners after me. Like, it just connects you with all those people. And, you know, these cars are increasingly rare. I mean, this thing is not a rare Bugatti or anything like that, right? But old cars, they're not, by definition, right? They're not building any more of them. And the number of them steadily declines, right? Especially C4s. C4s are not viewed as especially valuable. And so a lot of them don't get very good care, they get trashed, and they get sent to the junkyard. And even if that wasn't true, you know, there's a steady stream of them getting wrecked, right? Just from use. That means over time, what is already a relatively rare car is going to get increasingly rare. I'm sure there will always be a bunch of them, but that doesn't mean everyone can have an experience with them, right? I think it's good that someone 50 years from now, someone who's not even born, will hopefully be able to own this car and take it for a drive and understand a little bit about what life was like, you know, in the 1980s. So that means something to me. I think even a relatively common car like this, as it ages and becomes rare, I think there is value in keeping them going. The last thing, and I'm looking at my list here, is that it resists the idea that beauty can only come from things that are shiny and new. Everyone loves a new car, right? Including me. But there's more than one way to be beautiful. There's more than one way to be appreciated. And if you don't believe me, think about your favorite pair of shoes after they're worn in, or your favorite pair of jeans after they're worn in, right? There is beauty in things that have some usage and some patina. And I think that applies to cars as well. And so owning and driving and maintaining an older, visually imperfect car helps validate that assessment, I think. When you appreciate that, when you learn to appreciate that wabi-sabi aesthetic, it kind of calms you down a little bit and helps you respect the nature of things, the imperfect world still being beautiful. Imperfect people can still be beautiful and wonderful. All right, so that's a lot of chit chat. Thanks for watching the video. Next time I'm going to start diving into it. So be sure to subscribe to see that. And I'm going to the end screen now. Click on this video if you want to see my first video that talks about my motivation for this and a little bit more about my brother and why a Corvette and why this Corvette and so on. All right, take care.